Hello guys, welcome to your Unit 6. Okay, so transformation of trigonometric functions. Wherein in this unit, you will be able to gain these learning outcomes. First is for you to identify the different cases for the powers of sine and cosine and solve this one to related problems. And so with the powers of tangents and seconds and solve related problems. Okay, so recall again in your basic trigonometric identities, your reciprocal identities, quotient identities, double angle identities, and then Pythagorean identities, wherein you will make use of these identities for you to transform your equations into the desired form before we will apply the said formulas. Okay, so trigonometric integrals are those with integrands involved trigonometric functions. Some trigonometric integrals cannot be evaluated directly from their forms. However, they can be reduced to standard forms by use of appropriate trigonometric identities. Okay, so this is your first powers. Okay, so powers of sine and cosine. This is your first transformation. We have three cases under this. So the first two cases are these, okay? In this form, okay, let's say when m is a positive and odd integers and n is any number, we may write, okay, so if we have here this form of your function wherein you are integrating sine raised to m, and m is just the number of the function v, any function of course, okay, so sine raised to m, if we say m, that should be positive odd integer, and your n or the power of your cosine is any number, then this will fall under your case 1. So how are we going now to integrate this one? Since m is odd, okay, since m is odd, we can subtract 1 from that m, and if we will subtract 1 from that m, that will become even, and therefore we may use the identity, okay, this identity that is coming from your Pythagorean identities, and sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. So what will happen? Let's say you have here again your sine, which is raised to a positive odd integer. You can factor out one of that outside. So that will be m minus 1. Instead of that to be odd, that will now become even, which is now transferable using this identity for you to make here cosine, okay? For you to make every trigonometric inside as cosine function. Again, your sine, using this identity, we will make everything inside as cosine, and then outside you have there the sine, so that you can just make use of your power rule. Why? Because if your function are cosine of the angle and you have its derivative, which is sine of the angle, isn't it that the derivative of cosine is sine, negative sign. So we only need to put there a negative, and that will be integratable by power rule. That is reversible with case 2, because in case 2, instead of m to be the positive odd integer, okay, it is now your n, and m is any number. If your n is the positive odd, then that will go the same way as this. Since that is the cosine, I will bring outside one of the cosine. Okay? Then if I will subtract 1 with that positive odd n, it will become even. So it is also transferable using this. Okay? It is also transformable using this identity, which is the same as this. We just interchange your sine and cosine. So if I will make use of this identity, then everything inside will become sine, and then this sine has a perfect derivative of cosine, so we will just be making use of power rule. Okay, so let's have an example for case 1 and case 2. You have here this problem, integral of sine 4x raised to 3 times cosine 4x squared times dx. Okay, so what do you call this one? there is no other way for us to integrate this one, even if you will make use of the direct formula in your trigonometry, isn't it? So we need to transform this one. That's why this is under your transformation, because it is only solvable by transformation. And if you will try to look at this, okay, this will fall under your case 1. Why? The sign exponent is positive odd. So I can bring outside one of that sign, so that will become 3 minus 1 will be squared. So let's focus on these two. Sine squared, cosine squared. Okay, again, one of the sign, I brought that one outside. Why? I will make that one as part of my derivative. Therefore, okay, this sign here, the remaining sign, okay, from the one that I brought outside, I will transfer that one. I will transform that one, making use of our identity. Okay, this identity. So that will become, since that is squared, okay, that will become 1 minus cosine squared. Yes, of the same angle, of course. So now I can put that inside. I can multiply this cosine squared inside. It will become cosine squared 4x minus cosine raised to 4 of 4x. Okay, so everything inside now is in cosine. Or in, again, cosine, cosine. What is the derivative of cosine? It's negative sign. Okay, negative sign. And there is a missing part here. Okay, so let's say, let me first distribute. Okay, so integral of cosine squared 4x sine x dx minus integral of cosine raised to 4x sine 4x dx. Okay, so that will become this one. I will just distribute the derivative and the integral. Then let's say, okay, focus here first. Let's say that cosine 4x is your u. Your n will be that squared will be your n. So if I will differentiate your cosine, that will be negative 4 sine 4x dx. Okay. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. Differentiate the angle will be 4 dx. So that is where this 4 came from. Negative sine 4 dx. So now that is your derivative. But if you try to look here, our derivative is only sine 4x dx. There is a remaining, there is a missing part, which is negative 4. Okay, there's a missing part, which is negative 4. Okay, so, okay, your balancing factor is, let me just put here 1/4, because here your negative will become negative and your negative will become positive because of that sign. Okay, so negative 1/4, this is supposed to be negative 1/4, so I will just carry that negative 1/4 here. Okay, so we will be having a balancing factor of negative 1/4 in all of these. So let me just put it outside. Negative 1/4. Okay, that is our balancing factor. Okay, now apply your power rule in this first term. That will become cosine raised to 3 of 4x all over 3. Again, here is your negative 4x. It is already there outside. So now I will go on the second part, wherein the same. Minus, I will apply the power rule again, because your negative 1/4 is already there, which is being multiplied all together. N plus 1 will be 5 over n plus 1, which will be 5 also. Now you can simplify by putting back your balancing factor, so that will become negative. 4 and 3 will become 12. It will become positive. 4 and 5 will become 20. So this is your final answer for number 1. Okay. Let's have second example. Okay, this time. Okay, so this time. Where's this? Okay, so let's have the second example. This time, your cosine is the one with positive odd. Okay, sine is any number. So since that is positive odd, I can bring outside one of that. So that is what will happen here. And then the remaining with that cosine, I will transform using this identity. And that will become, since that is just squared, okay, I will just transform that into 1 minus sine squared x. And then if I will now bring inside this sine, everything will become sine inside. Okay, so a sine has a derivative of cosine. So let your sign be your u, okay, then the derivative of your u will become positive cosine x dx since your angle is just x. So there's no constant there. So we do not need actually a balancing factor since that is completely there. Okay, I can now distribute your integral and your derivative. So in your first term, we will just apply your power rule wherein sine raised to n plus 1 over n plus 1. So that will become 3 over 3. And the second will be minus n plus 1 again over n plus 1 will be 5. Okay, so that is your final answer. Okay, so here's your case 3, still under your powers of sine and cosine. So this time, when m and n are both even integers, okay, they are now both even integers, so none of them is odd. So we cannot do what the case 1 and 2 suggest, wherein we will factor out 1. So instead of doing that, okay, by the way, either both of them are positive even, or one is positive and then the other is 0. So 0 is still considered as even. So both of them are still positive even. Okay, so this is what we will be doing. I will divide this exponent m and n by 2, and then that will go outside, so that I will just split the exponent. Okay, or so that inside what will be left is squared, sine squared, and cosine squared. And then making use of this quantity, this is a double angle identity. Actually, this is derived from double angle identity. Wherein if you have now sine square of the angle, that is just equivalent to 1 minus cosine twice the angle. Okay, that's why we call it double angle. Why? Because this will now become twice the angle that is originally v, that will become 2v. Okay, what are we trying to do here is to eliminate the squared. So if you will make use of this identity, then that will become 1 minus cosine 2v over 2. If that is cosine squared, that will become 1 plus. Okay, so that is the only difference of these two identity. If that is sine minus, if that is cosine, that is positive. So let's have an example here. Sine 4x dx. So 1 is 0. That is still under case 3 because it is still even. And the exponent there of cosine is 0, which is even. That's why there is no cosine there. Okay, so what will happen here is that I will split the exponent so that inside what will be left will be squared. So if I will do that, divide 4 by 2, so I will bring outside 2. If you are not sure of that, then bring it back, that will still be 4. Okay, so change your sine squared, making use of this identity. Okay, making use of our identity, change this form by 1 minus cosine twice the angle. So your angle is x, that will become 2x all over 2. Don't forget that this is still squared. So we are now going to, if I will square your 1/2 or over 2 below, I will just become, that will just become 1/4. So I will just factor out that outside since that is just a number. But since I cannot still integrate your 1 minus cosine 2x quantity squared, I will expand that one. Okay, so if I will expand, this will be the result. So 1 is integratable. This is cosine 2x integratable since there is an exponent. But again, on this third term is a cosine squared. We cannot yet integrate this one. So, again, making use of the other one, wherein if this is cosine, that will just become plus. So I will change that one again into the twice angle equivalent, wherein that is 1 plus cosine twice the angle. Your angle is 2x. That will become now 4x all over 2. So now simplify. 1 over 2 or 1/2 is just a number that will be together with 1, that will become 3/2. So this is still the negative 2x cosine 2x. I just copied. And then cosine 4x over 2. That's it. So if you will now try to look at each term, they are now all integratable. Okay, 3/2, 2 cos 2x, cosine 4x. They are all integratable. So look what will happen. Okay. So the higher or the bigger your even integer is, the longer your solution, because you will just be repeating this again and again. Imagine this one to be, let's say that is, if this is 6, I will bring that outside, that will become 3. So I will expand this one. It means I will multiply this 3 times. So that will be very, very long. So if you will find it again squared, you need to simplify that one up to the time that will now just become linear. Okay, or the exponent will just become 1 so that we can integrate. So that is the challenge in case 3. You need to simplify up to the time you can integrate all. You can now, all the terms are now integratable. Okay, so I will now integrate. Okay, again, 1/4 is there outside. Multiply inside. Okay, if I will multiply integral in dx with your 3/2, integral of 3/2 dx is just 3/2 x, or 3x over 2. Now I will put integral and dx in your negative 2x cosine 2x. I can just bring outside 2. Okay, if I will bring outside 2, what is the what is your u? That will be, your u is 2x. So if I will differentiate, there is a missing part which is 2. Instead of balancing that one, I will put these 2 together with your dx, so that will be the perfect derivative of your u, which is 2x. It will become 2 dx. So that will now be a perfect integral of cosine u du, wherein, okay, integral of cosine u du, wala na yung 2 na yun. Okay, so 2 is not there already. Since again 2, I will put that one together with dx, so that will be the derivative of your 2x. So I will now apply the integral of cos u du, that is equivalent to positive sine u. But again, that is originally negative. So sine u. And then for the third term, 1/2 is just a number there. Integral of cosine 4x dx. So you need to have there 4 dx. So there is a missing part here, 4 in the derivative as 4. So if I will try to balance that constant will now become 1/8. Why? Because I will multiply the 1/2 by the 1/4, which is the balancing factor for our 4, which will be added in your dx. So that we can again apply your integral of cos u du will become sine u. But again, 1/2 and the balancing factor 1/4 will multiply into 1/8. So 1/8 sine u. Okay, then everything is multiplied again by 1/4. The 1/4 is the one factored out outside, plus c. Then you can simplify. That will become 3x over 8. That will become minus sine 2x over 4. That will become 1 all over 32 sine 4x. Sine 4x over 32 plus c. So that is for number 3. Okay, let's move now to powers of tangents and seconds. So we have again 3 cases here. Okay, we have 3 cases of three cases of tangents and seconds. Okay, so instead of having sine raised to m, cosine raised to m, we have now tangent raised to m and secant raised to n. So what will be the case 1 of this tangent and secant? Okay, when m is any number, your tangent is any number, but n is positive even. Your exponent in secant is positive even. Okay, I can just bring outside that squared of secant. Why? Because if I will do that, then secant squared will serve as your derivative. And what is that secant squared? That is a derivative of tangent, isn't it? Tangent plus a derivative of secant squared. So, if I will do that, what will be remaining inside in your secant? I will transform that one, everything into every secant left behind inside. I will transform that one into tangent, so that everything will become tangent inside, and the secant squared of the angle is the perfect differential of the tangent. So I will just apply again power, making use of this identity. Okay, this is your trigonometric identity. So let's have an example for that. Okay, so let's have an example for that. Case 1. So if you'll try to look here, any number for tangent, but your focus is on the secant, that is positive add. So I will bring out the square of secant, so that will serve as our derivative. Okay, so the remaining, okay, we have here secant squared, which is remaining. I will transform that one using this identity again, 1 plus tangent squared. So that will, since that is just squared, that will just become 1 plus tangent squared. Then, I will multiply back your tangent inside, that will become all as tangent. And then, tangent has a derivative of secant 2x dx. Secant squared 2x dx. Why? Your angle is x. So if I will, okay, let again. Okay, I forgot to write here. Okay, if you are not used to direct integration, you can always assume your u. So let's say, let u equals tangent x. The derivative of tangent x is secant squared of x dx. So perfectly, this is its differential. So we can now just distribute so that we can just apply power rule. So that will be, okay, again, tangent x, the derivative of that is secant squared x dx. So we do not need to balance anything. And your n is 3, so that will just be copy n plus 1 over n plus 1. And so it is the same, n plus 1 over n plus 1. Therefore, that is your answer for example number 4. Okay, second case for tangents and secants. If m is positive odd integer and n is any number, okay, n is any number, what are we going to do now? So n is not even, so we cannot factor out secant squared outside. Since if we will do that, what will be left is odd, so we cannot transform that one using the identity secant squared. So instead, what we are going to do is bring outside 1 secant and 1 tangent, so that will serve as your derivative or differential, whose derivative is secant tangent. That will be secant. Okay, the derivative of secant is equal to secant tangent. Okay, so that is what we will be doing. What will I do again? I will bring outside one of the secant and one of the tangent. Then of course, if your tangent is odd there, if I will bring outside one, that will become even, so it is transferable using this tangent squared. Okay, so that is our identity to use in this case too. So let's have this example. Okay, again, in this problem, I cannot do your case 1 since secant is raised to odd. So if I will bring out a square, that will be 3. So I cannot transform 3 using your secant square. So I'd rather bring outside one of secant, one of tangent. Okay, what will be left here? Whose differential is secant and tangent? Sectant, that is secant. So everything in here should be secant. Therefore, this tangent squared, I will make use of my identity to transform that one, which is equivalent to secant squared minus 1. So that is the equivalent of tangent squared. Then again, I will put that one inside. That will become secant raised to 6 of x. And then secant raised to 4 of x. And the sectant outside dx with dx is the derivative of secant, which is your function. So that we can again just apply power rule. Okay, so I will distribute. So that's it. Secant raised to 6 of x. So let's say your u is secant x. The derivative is sec x tan x dx. So it is okay. We do not need to balance anything. And the same with this. The only difference is the power. So power rule. Copy. N plus 1 will be 7 over n plus 1 is 7. Same here. N plus 1 over n plus 1. So this is your final answer for number 4. Okay, and last case on the powers of tangent and secants is, okay, if we cannot apply case 1 wherein secant is raised to positive even, and we cannot do that since tangent is not positive odd, so that will fall under your case 3, wherein case 3, m is a positive odd or even, and n is 0. So what we only have here is tangent, since your exponent for secant is 0. So how are we going to do that one? We cannot make use of case 1, case 2. So all we have to do now is, okay, bring outside one of the 2 of that tangent, and then make use of this identity to simplify. Okay, so that if I will multiply now, what will be remained here? That will become tangent and secant squared, which is the derivative of tangent. And then if I will multiply the remaining with your 1, that will become tangent. It depends on what will be there. If that needs to be simplified again, we need to simplify. If that is just tangent, then we can just integrate, right? There's a direct integral for tangent. So let's have this example. Tangent raised to 5 of x dx. Okay, so again, as suggested, bring outside 2 of the tangent, so that will be tangent squared of x. Make use of our identity, that will become secant squared minus 1. If I will to distribute, okay, that will be tan cube of x times secant squared of x. Is that integratable? Yes. Why? Because tangent is your u and the derivative of tangent is secant squared, including your dx. So that first term is integratable. But if you will try to look here in your second term, tan 3x, again, tangent which is raised to a positive, add. We will again repeat the process. Bring outside 2 of these, and then change that one again to secant squared minus 1. So I will just copy this one below, okay? So that will become secant squared minus 1. Then if I will distribute, that will be tan sec 2x. So it's okay again, just like your case here, that is power rule. This is power rule. But in this one, what is the integral of tangent? Do we have that? Yes. Integral of tangent is, okay, what is the integral of tangent? Okay, I will explain that one later on. So we will proceed. Okay, distribute. This is just again a power rule. Why? Your tangent x is your u. The derivative of that is exactly secant squared x dx. Your n is 3. Same as this, but your n is 1. So power rule. But in your tangent, okay, okay, so typographic, I will change that one. Okay, so I just changed the typographical error. Okay, so secant squared still. I will just copy this one, but of course I will first look at this. Integral of tangent, there is a direct integral of this, but okay, I will just break this down into sine over cosine. Okay, wherein, isn't it that try to go back in your logarithm, integral of logarithmic. So think of your cosine x as your u. What is the differential of cosine? Is negative sine x dx. So there should be a negative there. So what will I do? I will balance that. I will put negative and then I will balance that by negative. So this will become minus. So your answer here is integral of sine x over cosine x is negative ln of cosine x. Or you have that directly as your formula in your trigonometric function. Okay? So how about this 2? That is power rule again. N plus 1 over n plus 1 minus n plus 1 over n plus 1. That is originally 1, so this will just become squared. So this is for your example number 5. Okay, let's have the last case. That's it. That is the last case. But, okay, if you will try to open other books, we have what we call as the powers of cotangents and cosecants. But actually, your cotangent and cosecant are almost the same with tangent and, okay, so your case 1 is same as your tangent and secant. Why? Because if your, instead of secant, okay, if your cosecant has an exponent of positive even, okay, integer, what you will be doing is just like in your tangent secant, you will bring out that cosecant squared. Why? That is a differential of cotangent. So change this one into everything into cotangent using this identity. Your case 2 is the same. Instead of having there a tangent and secant, you have there cotangent and cosecant. And case 2 is your cotangent is raised to positive odd. So what will we do? I will bring out one of the cotangent, in one of the cosecant. So that whose derivative is cosecant. So I will change everything inside using this one so that everything will become cosecant. So just like your case number 2. And then of course, just like case number 3 for tangent and cotangent. Okay, tangent and secant. Okay, so that is for your transformation. Okay, so if you have any question, just again comment below. So try this one. integrate this quantity 1 plus cosine 4x squared. So please integrate that one. Try to integrate. So review some concepts in this discussion. Okay, it is best to first identify which case the integral belongs to for the identification of the correct trigonometric identity to be used. Yes, you should try to figure out what case is that. Is that under your case 1 of sine cosine, or is that case 2 of tangent secant? So figure out first what case it belongs to. And then, of course, after the trigonometric transformation, basic integration formulas will be ultimately be used for the evaluation of the integral. Okay, so once you will transform that one, of course, for you to say that that is integratable, you should be able to know what formulas are we going to make use of in this integration for us to integrate. Okay, so that's it. Again, this method or this technique is, if your function, trigonometric function, is not integratable alone by direct formulas, what we are going to do is transform. Okay, using again identities. Okay, so thank you very much.